Biomutant is an open-world action role-playing game developed by Experiment 101 and published by THQ Nordic. I remember when the first couple cinematic and gameplay trailers came out, there were a lot of people clamoring to play it. I honestly never understood the hype, but continue to watch people put it at the top of their most anticipated lists. Hype died down dramatically when the game came out because apparently the game wasn't what people thought it was going to be. I pretty much ignored any press for Biomutant all this time, and I was always curious about how this game played and how it was overall. So I jumped in and it's pretty okay. The main plot of the game centers around your player character, who grows up learning various kung fu skills from their mother, among other things from other creatures in your village, like swimming and finding scrap. One day your village gets raided and you end up having to be on your own. Years pass, and after fully creating your character by changing your base stats and look, you run into some old friends from the past and learn about the destruction of the Tree of Life. There is a karma system in the game that changes the story depending on the decisions you make. Do you save the Tree of Life and let your world flourish, or let the tree wither down, destroying everything to let life grow anew? The main plot is pretty basic, but is delivered in a nice way. There's basically 4 things happening at once here. There is the main plot centered around the Tree of Life and the World Eaters, the main bosses of the game that are eating away at the tree's roots. There is the revenge plot of if you want to take revenge or not on the creature who destroyed your village and family. There is a tribe war between 6 different tribes, and there is a plot where you can join a tribe and take down the other tribes. Then there is the Ark plot. There's a spaceship at the base of the tree called the Ark. If you choose for the world to fall to ruin, you can pick 4 of the 16 side characters to come with you on the ship to avoid the impending doom. Though depending on your karma level, they may not want to join you even if you pick them. Sadly, I decided to really invest my time into picking characters I really wanted, but the end was so painfully unfulfilling that I don't think it actually really matters. The world of Biomutant casts immediate intrigue, but loses its luster the further you get into it. The characters in the game are all weird creatures that look like mixes of foxes, raccoons, pandas, and the like. They all speak a gibberish language with apparently different dialects, but it's all cutesy sounding gibberish nonetheless. Accompanying you on this journey is a little automaton grasshopper who narrates the story, interprets the creatures' languages, and talks about the different areas of the game. While the gibberish is cute at first and makes sense in the context of the game in a cool way, it gets old fast. The grasshopper, or narrator, talks incredibly too much as well, so hearing him talk gets annoying. The narrator literally doesn't stop talking. There is a setting in the game to get him to talk less, but adjusting it didn't really seem to fix my problem. He talks about the sun coming up, he talks about new locations you get to, he talks about how the world used to be, he talks about enemies, he talks about decisions you make or don't make, he talks when you obtain items and talk to others, he talks while you are leveling yourself up, he talks when you are doing nothing. I quickly learned to just skip a lot of the dialogue, especially since a lot of it was pretty nonsensical anyways.
More light means fewer places to hide. Careful you don't slide down the Sprill slope. Maybe Honky can show you the way. Heroes are only heroes for others, but they do the work, or they're heroes to no one. Don't flinch away from this. It's your moment. You need to focus.
Since this is a world that has grown after the downfall of humans, the evolved creatures call a lot of different things weird names. Like a book may be known as a page-turning or something. Then all the areas and creatures of the world have zany names like Flipflorpf. Like, it's cool and makes sense, and it's nice to have a game that is actually different. I don't want to discredit the creators, but it's all just so boring. I know a lot of work went into the dialogue, but I've never skipped so much dialogue in a game before. It's just also uninteresting, especially with the name convention. I guess it's cool to have funny names or names that would make sense in a world like this. I applaud their creativity, but it just didn't hit like I think it should have. It makes things more confusing, which makes me not care. When you are constantly being fed names of locations that don't stick to you because the words don't communicate judicially, that makes you purposefully not care. You have the choice to make decisions in the game that crafts the way characters think about you. There are two little karma characters that represent your good and bad side that will pop out to repurpose the situations in a way to make it more clear for the player to understand which decision is the bad or good way. Evil choices are more like annoyed choices, but for them to clearly make it be the evil route, the dialogue is written in a way that makes it tasteless. It makes choosing options not even fun, because of how comically senseless of a statement you will make, and how much of an ambiguous answer you will receive. Your character could say something like, "Haha, I hate you," and the other character's response would be something like, "Ah, you may hate me, but do you love yourself?" There are many different components to actually playing the game. Controlling the character feels fine, though sometimes with how hectic combat can be, it can feel a bit unresponsive. You can run, jump, double jump, and dodge as your basic means of traversal. Combat consists of close-range melee and long-range shooting. You can create different combos by combining different weapons, and pulling off some attacks is quite the spectacle. You can create and modify weapons by either crafting with materials found out in the world, or buying them from shops. Different elemental effects can be connected to your weapons that allow you to implement various ways to take down your enemies strategically by learning an enemy's weakness and being able to easily switch to other weapons equipped with other elements to inflict more damage. You can also equip different pieces of armor to gain defense and other buffs. You can level up your character after obtaining enough XP, and there are also points dedicated to other stats like your persuasiveness, luck when finding items, and your resistance against elemental damage. You can also learn new moves and combos that are tied to different styles of weapons like your kung fu abilities or dual wielding. There are two different types of mutations, biomutations and psi mutations. Biomutations can change the way you look, like giving you a crab arm and being able to pinch at your foes, and by using biopoints, you can unlock abilities like creating a poison cloud and activating a sludge bubble that all the enemies get stuck to. Psi mutations unlock abilities like telekinesis and other abilities tied to your karma level, which is influenced by how you treat others throughout the game. There's a lot of mechanics at play here, and it is all confusing with how it is all flatly laid out for you. After the tutorial section of the game, you are thrown out to the main world map where you can do mostly anything at any time. So with that and all these different things going on in the menus, I was completely overstimulated. There's too many different kinds of points to keep track of, and systems in place that regulates how something is that you will never know of or not know until late in the game. All that is just the tip of the iceberg. There's mounts to find, but you have to find food to give them first in order to ride them. A ton of side quests to tackle. Some parts of the world can only be ventured to with a certain mechanical vehicle like a mech or an air balloon. It's possible to level up your little robot friend to give him abilities like providing extra health during battle. I found some doors and areas that couldn't be opened without obtaining an upgrade, but I had no clue how to obtain the upgrade for a while. It's just all too much. The music is beautiful and really commemorates the desire for adventure. The most memorable parts of the game was when I was overlooking a cliff out into the vast distance of the landscape while an orchestra score softly played in the background. There just really isn't anything quite like it, and legitimately got me to go out and explore more. The music gets more powerful and epic while in combat. It really unifies the entire experience of Biomutant. With all the different styles of play and accessibility to all these options at once, the game ends up being easy to a fault. The gibberish and illogical naming of towns and characters can't get you invested. Being able to go anywhere and being able to find and craft powerful weapons making the combat simple and effortless seals the deal. Even though the world is genuinely fun to roam and explore, it ends up being sort of empty and repetitive. While you'll come across some abandoned towns and bunkers where you fight some big creatures and loot the empty buildings, that's all you'll ever really do. Biomutant is definitely inventive in more ways than one, and I appreciate the breakout from the norm. The game runs great, and there's a lot of quality mechanics to make the game fun, but you can never get fully interested because nothing is concrete enough to be interesting. The mediocrity of Biomutant makes it easy to put down and never come back to.
There's a serenity about this spot.
I give Biomutant a 6 out of 10.